Hello everyone, welcome to Get My Class. Today we are going to learn a chapter from class 12. This belongs to subject biology, and the chapter number 4 we are going to learn with, and that is reproductive health. And this is part 1. So let's begin. So let's see the content. The content contains reproductive health, like we'll have a brief description about what is reproductive health. Then we'll talk about measures taken by government. Then we'll talk about amniocentesis, then population explosion and birth control. Then we'll discuss about contraceptive methods, under which we are going to talk about natural and traditional methods. Then we are going to talk about barriers method, then IUDs, then oral contraceptive methods, injectable methods, and implants, and further surgical methods. And finally, we are going to discuss about the side effects of contraceptive methods. So let's begin. So what do you understand by reproductive health? So we all know reproduction is nothing but reproduction, that is producing again. So why are we talking about reproductive health? Of course, we are talking about reproductive health of human being. Okay. So let us understand what is the meaning of reproductive health. So according to WHO, that is World Health Organization, reproductive health is nothing but the total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. Okay. So if anybody asks you what is reproductive health, it is nothing but the total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. Okay. So may it be physical aspect, may it be emotional aspects, behavioral aspect, and even social aspect. So any aspect related to reproduction can be considered as a part of reproductive health. Okay. Then problems and strategies. So why are we so bothered about reproductive health? So what is happening and what are the problems here and what are the strategies to solve it? So now, so there are, like, when we say reproductive health, we are actually talking about, the way a person's reproductive system is functioning, whether it is functioning properly or not, or how is the reproduction happening in a population? Is it more than what is required, or is it are there people who are not reproducing, who are not able to reproduce? So what are the strategies or what are the plans? Okay. So some of the important strategies with respect to, we can say that where population has been increasing day by day, to stop it, or you can say to check it, there are certain strategies which have been accepted, okay, or which have been followed. Like India was the first country among many of the countries in the world to start something called as family planning, because we know that India is the second most populated country, right? And that is why it was necessary, or it is necessary even now, to accept or to adopt certain strategies which will help in maintaining the population, or you can say even check the population. So family planning was initiated in the year 1951 by India. So this is an important question which can be asked in your exam. Then reproductive health in a society forms a crucial part of general health. Okay, so if in a society, if reproductive health is good, then we can also say that in general they all are good. Okay, so that doesn't mean that even though reproductive health is good, that doesn't mean that they have to keep reproducing babies every now and then. Okay, that means we all know that human beings are continuous breeders, right? Okay, hence it is our duty to check the population with respect to take care of the entire, any problem in the world is based on population. It is related to population. Okay. So that is why we have to keep a check on the population. Now, reproductive health in a society forms a crucial part of general health. Okay. So if a person is generally, if he is healthy, if everything is fine physically, emotionally, behaviorally, socially, then of course his reproductive health will be good. But in any way, if he's suffering by something, or some disease or some emotional stress or behavioral problem, that can have adverse effect on his reproductive health. Now, improved programs covering wider reproduction. Okay, here reproductive and child care, that is RCH program have been initiated. Okay, so that is apart from family planning, there are so many other plannings have been adopted, which will help in improving the reproductive health. And reproductive and child care health is one of the program. Then Health and education of young people and marriage and childbearing during mature stages of life are important attributes to reproductive health of a society. Okay, so if we have to talk about reproductive health of a society, we have to look for, what is the age the child, what is the age that a person is getting married, okay, and what is the age at which the female is carrying or bearing the child. So all these aspects we have to look into if we have to talk about the reproductive health of a society. Now, measures taken by government. So, what are the measures taken by government? I have already told you, India had initiated, family planning in the year 1951. So, apart from that, there are many various other measures which have been taken. Okay, where people have been educated, people have been made aware of reproductive health with the help of audio visuals, print media, newspapers, TV. Okay, TV on all comes under audiovisual. Radio comes under audio. Okay, so like that, there are many programs which have been taken care so as to spread the awareness of reproductive health. Then, even family members, close relations are involved in awareness. Okay, so family members themselves can, guide other family members with respect to reproductive health. Then sex education was introduced in school to provide awareness. So there are many people, many children who want to, test so many things related to sex. But then we have to make them aware and we have to tell them the pros and cons of, sex education. Okay, they have to be educated in a proper way. What is necessary and what if they do in a wrong way can, cause something dangerous. Okay, so that is why sex education have been introduced in the school. See, what is the meaning of sex education? Sex education is related to your secondary developments. Like, when the child, maybe in case of female child, when the first time when the child attains menarche. So what to be done? Okay, she should not panic. So many things are there to be considered. Okay, then proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence, and then related changes, safe and hygiene sexual practices, sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, etc. Okay. So at adolescence age, the children want to try out new things and they will be cautious about their body changes, etc. So we have to teach them, the teachers as well as the schools should arrange certain programs where the children have to be educated, like what is safe, what is hygienic, sexual practices, what to be done, what is not to be done, when to be done, all these, and what kind of diseases they can, what kind of diseases can be caused if they follow, unhealthy sexual practices. Then let us talk about what is amniocentesis. So amniocentesis is a type of a technique to find out the chromosomal abnormalities in developing embryo by using amniotic fluid. Okay, amniotic fluid. Now, why is it done? If at all, if there is, we are talking about reproductive health. So even the health of the baby inside the stomach, that also should be checked, right? Okay. So for that, whether the embryo, developing embryo, is there any abnormalities? Is there any chromosomal abnormality or genetic abnormality? That can be done by the help of amniocentesis. Now, this amniocentesis also checks like what kind of chromosome does the baby contain. So we all know that we all have 23 pairs of chromosome, right? 23 pairs of chromosome. And we also know that 22 pair is autosome plus 1 pair is sex chromosome. Okay. And this 1 pair, it can be X and Y in case of male and X and X in case of female. Okay. Now, many people are using this amniocentesis to check the sex of the baby. Okay. And in India, there are many areas where still now, even if it's till now, there are people who don't want girl babies, and if at all they find out by amniocentesis that the baby which is growing inside is female, and they may bring about feticide, female feticide. Okay. So that is why we can say that amniocentesis, though it is actually developed for a good thing, that is to find out the chromosomal abnormality, but it has been misused to check the fetal sex and so as to even commit feticides. Okay. So that is why we have to be very careful in using these techniques. So you can see this is the baby in the womb, and this is how they draw the amniotic fluid. Okay, in that the fetal cells, embryonic cells will be there, and in the embryonic cells the chromosomes will be there, and the chromosomes will be analyzed and checked, like what if there is any abnormality, and further steps will be taken what to be done. Now let us talk about population explosion and birth control. Till now we were talking about reproductive health and how to take care of reproduction process, and what are the measures to be taken to make people aware of reproductive health, how to take care of babies' abnormalities within the womb, etc. Now, because of the growing medical field, or you can say medical facilities, there is population explosion. Okay, not only medical facilities, people are there, many people who consider that being a big family is, it's like a boon for them. Now, so population explosion and birth control, under which now we are going to talk about the improved quality of life of people. Yes, now the quality of people have improved. Everybody wants to eat hygienic food. Okay, they all are health cautious, right? And that is why the population, the life expectancy has increased to certain level. But then you can also say that the population also has been increasing. Now, increasing health facilities. So earlier days, like in olden days, there were not much of health facilities. So people used to fall sick and die. Now there are health facilities, like if people fall sick, they will be saved because of these facilities. Then better living condition. Yes, earlier people used to live in dirty places, unhygienic places, but now they are aware that they have to be living in clean places. And that's how less disease and hence better growth in population. Then rapid decline in death rate. So because of the medical facilities, because of the above reasons, there is rapid decrease, or you can say decline in the death rate. So we say even in case of maternal mortality rate, okay, as well as IMR, that is infant mortality rate. So maternal mortality rate, because earlier days, the females in India, even many other places, they used to deliver babies at home, and because of lack of medical facilities, they used to die. Okay, and even infant mortality rate was quite high. But now, because of the increased health facilities and awareness, now the maternal mortality rate as well as infant mortality rate has come down, and that is how it has added to the population again. Now, let us talk about steps to overcome population explosion. Using various contraceptive methods. So these are the methods which will avoid the fertilization process, as well as once if the eggs don't get fertilized, what will happen? The embryo will not form, and hence the babies will not form. So let us see. Apart from that, educating people about demerits of large family. So if a family is large and if they are from poor family, they will not get enough food. So there is unemployment. So there will be health issues. So every problem in the world is somehow related to the population. Okay, and that is why we have to educate the people who are thinking that having large family is is a matter of pride, which is not. Then increasing the marriageable age of female and male. So earlier there used to be child marriage, but then now the marriage age, that is, or you can say marriageable age, have been increased. For female it is 18 and the male it is 21. Okay, so that at least once the female attain 18 years of age, after that she may be involved in sexual activities and she can bear babies. Then let us talk about contraceptive methods. So what are contraceptive methods? These are the methods used to prevent unwanted pregnancies and modify the menstrual cycle. Okay. So modify the menstrual cycle so that they don't, produce egg. Okay. So that if the egg is produced, then it might get fertilized if they, there is coitus between the male and female. Then an ideal contraceptive. So let us see what is an ideal contraceptive. So these are the characteristics of an ideal contraceptive. They should be user friendly. Okay, so that means the person who is using should be easily, like it should be easily usable by that person. Then easily available. So of course it should be easily available. If not, then people may not try to buy it or may not try to afford it or get it and use it. Then it should be effective. So though it is contraceptive methods, we can see that some of the methods may not be effective and that may lead to pregnancy. So these, if it has to be an ideal contraceptive, then it has to be effective. Then reversible, because it is a temporary contraceptive method. Like the method which has to be used should be temporary. In case the family is plans for the baby, then it has to be reversible. Okay, so that is another ideal characteristic of, or it is an important characteristic of an ideal contraceptive. Then no side effects. So whatever the contraceptive methods have been followed, it should not have any side effects. Though there are many again which have side effects. Then no way interferes with sexual desires and sexual act. Like the married couples should be, even though they are following ideal contraceptive methods, they should be able to have their regular life with respect to their sexual life. And let us talk about the types of the various contraceptive methods. Now, option A says, or you can say the first one is natural or traditional methods. So, natural or traditional methods, here there is no need of medications. So, it is a natural method. Then it will not have any side effect. Okay, so it is a traditional method as well. Then other types are like barrier methods, which we are going to do in detail now. Then IUDs, that is intrauterine devices. Then we'll talk about oral contraceptive methods, then injectable contraceptive methods, implants. Then we'll talk about surgical methods. Okay, so let us begin with natural methods. So as I told you, natural method is a method which is, where the cycle can be controlled or the ovulation process can be controlled naturally. Even though there is ovulation, but still the fertilization can be controlled. Okay, so let us see how. So as I told you, natural method, the main principle is of avoiding chances of ovum and sperm meeting. So there is production of ovum, there is production of sperm in males, ovum in females. But if we avoid the meeting of them, then we can avoid the fertilization. So let us see what comes under that. The first one, periodic abstinence. Okay, that is abstinence. Periodic abstinence means where the couples avoid coitus. Okay, we know the menstrual cycle or the ovulatory cycle of the female. So between the ovulation is usually between 10 to 17. So usually actually on an average 14, but it depends person to person. So usually doctor advise them not to have coitus between the days 10th and to 17th day of the fertile, or you could say their menstrual cycle. So that is what is considered as a fertile period. Okay, so that is called as periodic abstinence. Then withdrawal or coitus interruptus. That means withdrawal coitus interruptus. Whenever male and female are having coitus, the male partner suddenly withdraws his penis just before ejaculation so as to avoid insemination into the vagina of the female, so that the semen containing the sperms will not be released in the vagina of the female. So that is what is called as withdrawal or coitus interruptus. So because of that, what will happen? The sperm will not be able to enter inside, so it will not enter into the body of the female at all. So there's no chance of fertilization. Then let us talk about lactational amenorrhea. So people, or you can say the females who have just delivered baby and who keep lactating, who keep breastfeeding their babies, in them naturally they don't have menstruation. Okay, so immediately after parturition, that is after delivery of the baby, they have intense milk, production. Okay, and they have to keep continuing feeding their baby so that the secretion it keeps coming out. And during this, there is naturally no ovulation in this period, and hence chances of fertilization is nil. Okay, so again, it depends body to body, but most of the cases it happens that when the mother is lactating, then the chance of ovulation is very less. Okay, so that is called as lactational amenorrhea. Then let us see barrier methods. So just now you saw natural method. Let us see barrier methods. Now, barrier methods here, as it says, it's a barrier between the ovum and sperm. That means it will not allow the physical meeting, or you can say fertilization of the ovum by the sperm. That is why it is called as barrier. Then examples, you have different types. Condoms you have. Condoms, it is there for male and female, and Apart from being a barrier, this also prevents certain sexually transmitted diseases. So STD means sexually transmitted diseases. Then, apart from condoms, there are other, you can say, methods or barriers like diaphragms, cervical caps, valves. Okay, these are all made up of rubber, whereas condom is made up of latex or again rubber. Okay, that is inserted in the female reproductive tract during coitus. Okay, this will not allow the meeting of the sperms with the egg. That is why these are called as barriers. Then, spermicidal cream, jellies and foams. So spermicidal creams and jellies or foams are applied within the cervical area of the female. And during coitus, even if the sperms are released, like chances of the sperm being alive to reach the egg will be less because these are called as spermicidal. That means it can kill the sperms. Okay. Then you can see this is the condom. This is for male and this is for female. Okay, these are the two different types of condoms for male and female. Now you also have certain other devices, as I told you. These are like the diaphragms, the cervical caps, and this is the cream, that is spermicidal cream, jellies, foams, etc. Then, so let us see the advantages of barrier methods. Okay, they are disposable. So these barrier methods, condoms and all, they are disposable. They can be safe for the insertion. That is, it can be inserted inside the female reproductive part if it is belonging to this group, that is diaphragm, cervical cap, walls, etc. If it is condom, that again it can be easily disposable. Then some of these, that is in these what I said, the diaphragm, cervical cap, walls are reusable. It can be washed and reused. Then prevent conception by blocking entry of sperms through cervix. So that is the main principle here, that prevention of conception by blocking the entry of the sperms into the cervix. Then let us talk about IUDs, that is intrauterine devices. As the name indicates, intra means within, that is inside. Uterine, we are talking about the uterus. So the devices which are used within the uterus are called as intrauterine devices. For what are they used? They are used to avoid conception, or you can say avoid pregnancy. Now these are inserted into the female uterus through vagina. Then let us see. That is intrauterine devices may be non-medicated. Okay, that is IUCDs are maybe non-medicated. That means they can be non-medicated in the sense they don't have to produce any medicines. Okay, they can just be loops like lips loops. So this is intrauterine devices only. Okay, so lips loops. Lips loop is a type of device which is non-medicated. It doesn't produce any hormones or any chemical to bring about, you can say, or you can say inhibit pregnancy. Okay, then copper releasing intrauterine devices. So there are certain devices which will release copper. And what does this copper do? Copper has the capacity to, reduce the motility of the sperms, or even it can make it inactive. Okay. So for example, you have copper T, copper 7. So they have this shapes, like copper T will be in T shape, copper 7 will be in 7 shape, but it will be having copper coiling here. This also will be having copper coiling. Then we have multi-load 375. What are these? These are all copper releasing intrauterine devices. Then hormone releasing intrauterine devices. So here you saw non-medicated one, here you saw copper releasing, and now you are seeing hormone releasing intrauterine devices. Now hormone releasing in the sense like these release hormones like progesterone. So progesterone has an effect where it will not allow the further ovulation process. Okay, and hence it will not allow the pregnancy. And you also have LNG20, which is a type of hormone releasing IUDs. So this is the you can say that lipus loops. This is the lipus loops. You can have, this is one lipus loop and this is another lipus loop, which is inserted into the vagina of the female. And this is what I was telling about. This is the copper T. It has a shape of a T, and this is inserted in the female uterine. In fact, in the uterine, this also is the uterus, both. Okay. So through vagina, it is inserted inside the uterus, and this will be releasing copper. You can see this copper wire here. This is the copper wire. It will be releasing copper. Okay. And these copper ions are very, very, what to say, they can inactivate the sperms. Then let us see IUCDs, that is the function of these devices. Okay, so increase the phagocytosis of the sperm in uterus. So they can increase the phagocytosis of the sperms in the uterus because they release certain hormones or even the ions which will cause the function of phagocytus even more higher. That means we have cells WBCs which are phagocytic in nature, like monocytes. They will come and they just engulf these sperms in the uterus. So they will just kill it. Okay. Then copper reduce the motility and the fertility capacity of the sperm, which I've already told you. Then the hormone releasing IUDs make the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. It is ideal for female who wants to delay pregnancy and spacing between two children. That means the hormone releasing IUDs. So here slowly the hormone will be released by that device. So during that time, what happens? These hormones will delay the pregnancy, and also there are many parents who want to keep a gap of 5 years or 4 years between the delivery of two children. So in such cases, these are very helpful. So let us talk about oral pills. So as the name indicated, these are like pills which can be taken orally. So you can see these are some of the pills what I've shown here. These are all having contraceptive effect. So these are all mainly progesterone based or progesterone or estrogen based. So remember, oral pills they usually contain progesterone or a combination of progesterone and estrogen. Okay. Then, so what do? The function is to inhibit ovulation. So progesterone inhibits the ovulation process, further implantation as well. Okay. As the chance the quality of the cervical mucus to prevent or retard entry of the sperms. Okay, so let me explain this to you. So these hormones, that is progesterone or a combination of progesterone and estrogen, what do? First of all, they inhibit the ovulation. Then they can also inhibit implantation. Like even if there is ovulation, even if there is fertilization, the embryo has to be implanted in the uterus, right? The endometrium wall. So what happens that these hormones have the capacity to thicken the cervical mucus. So the function of cervical mucus is like to lubricate the entrance of the penis during coitus. But because it will be very thick than the normal time because of the hormones which have been used in the pills, and this thickness or this thick cervical mucus will retard or even prevent the entry of the sperms so as to reach the fallopian tube and fertilize. So it cannot reach. That is my point. Then administered within 72 hours of coitus. So these, that is oral pills, it should be administered within 72 hours of coitus because the sperms will be survived there. They can survive for about 3 days. 2 days. Okay. So and ovum also we know that it is 12 to 24 days, 24 hours. So we have to see that within 3 days it has to be taken, or within 72 hours it has to be taken. The pills have to be taken. Okay. Then, so this is one of the important, we can say that oral pill, which is called as Saheli, which is formed in India, or it was produced in India. That is in Lucknow. Now, surgical method. So apart from the oral pills and intrauterine devices, even if then somebody is not, it is not getting controlled, and even if and after this they don't want to have the baby at all. So because the other methods till now what we saw was reversible. Like if you stop using those pills, if you stop using those methodologies like intrauterine devices, again the female will continue getting pregnant. Okay, but then by surgical method there can be sterility which can bring which can be caused sterility in the sense like for permanently that those people, either male or female, they can become sterile. They will not be able to reproduce anymore. So surgical method is also called a sterilization method. Okay. Terminal method of contraception. Terminal, like at the end, if they don't have any other choice and nothing else is working, then they can go for surgical method. So you have two types, that is tubectomy. that is vasectomy and tubectomy. So vasectomy is done in males and tubectomy is done in female. So vasectomy, as the name indicates, vasa, they're talking about vas difference, okay, where the tube of the vas difference is cut and tied so that the sperms are not released, okay. Then in case of females, the tubectomy, the part of fallopian tube is removed so that the ovum is not released, okay. Now, these techniques are highly effective, but their reversibility is very poor. So it is very difficult to open those tied tube and connect them back, allowing the sperm to come out, or even allowing the production of egg or release of the egg. So this is one of the, you can see, this is the, okay, this is in case of females. You can see the fallopian tubes have been cut here, okay, and they are tied, okay. So even if the eggs are released into the fallopian tube, it can just go here and it will be here. It will not, it will not get into the uterus at all, okay? And even the sperms cannot travel there. Then here you have, yeah. So this is what is done, that is vasectomy in male. So you can see that vas difference is cut here and tied, okay, and so that the sperms which are released here, they will not, they will not be released to penis. So these are the methodologies which can bring about permanent sterility in male and female. Okay. There are chances if the surgeons are really good. So let us see side effects of contraceptive methods. So till now we were talking about how good they are. So let us talk about how bad they can be. The selection of contraceptive method should be taken under the consultation of doctors. So, if every person's body is different, so which type of medicine will be helpful for you, or which type of medicine will be suitable to your body. So only those medicines or those methods should be used. For that, you have to consult good doctors. Now, there can be certain side effects, like people who take these pills, they may have nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, sudden bleeding, irregular menstrual bleeding, or even breast cancer. So these have a lot of progesterone, which can cause, like heavy dose of progesterone, which can cause breast cancer. So I hope you understood the explanation. Thank you, everyone.